Welcome to another episode of the MMA Lock-Cast. I'm your host, MJ, aka MMA Lock of the Night, and on Twitter at MMA LOTN. Today, we're going to be tackling UFC 224, which goes down in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. It goes down Saturday, May 12th on pay-per-view. I am looking to, bounce back from a mediocre UFC Atlantic City, where I went 1-1, dropping my Brett Johns bet to Aljamain Sterling, and then eventually cashing on the main event to not go the distance. Thank God to those bloody doctors. I love those doctors. I will marry that doctor that stopped the fight with a minute and whatever left. But we did cash that bet, thank God, but I was still down about 2 units for that event due to the Brett Johns loss. This week, I have 2 bets. Well, hopefully we'll have 2 bets. I have one for UFC 224 and one that I might be making for Bellator 199, but the odds have yet to drop yet, so I'll just quickly touch on that at the end of the event. So let's just get right into this. I'm going to do my quick picks, followed by my brief breakdown of my lock of the night, and then finish off with the rest of the card, and then give you guys a quick, what I'm thinking about for Bellator 199, and then I'll just quickly sign off. So, kicking things off, I got Perez over Boknovic, Amiv over Amina, Leitis over Hermanson, Alves over Aliv, Zaleski over Strickland, Hein over Hamosh, Albini over Olenek, Roberson over Fajera, Machida over Belfort, and that leads us right into my lock of the night, which is John Lineker at minus 205 over Brian Kelleher. Before I get into Kelleher, I just want to make a quick note on the way that the odds moved for this fight. I think Lineker opened up somewhere north of minus 300, was eventually bet all the way down to minus 180, if I remember correctly. I hit him at minus 205 as soon as I saw that number, but I was very surprised that he even got down to minus 180. Not sure what was going on there, but, to each their own. If you see value in Kelleher at those odds, go for it. So, kicking right off, let's go with breaking down Kelleher real quick. He's had 4 fights in the UFC already. Relatively impressive. In the Alcantara fight, which was his first fight, he did get cracked a couple times. Alcantara is a pretty aggressive striker, and Kelleher, wasn't really doing well in the striking distance. He did show some good leg kicks, but didn't seem to get back quick enough to evade some of the counter strikes that Alcantara was throwing at him. Kelleher did show good pressure, but good luck against trying to implement that pressure against a guy like Lineker. Eventually, a sloppy takedown from Alcantara led to him being subbed, but everything that happened up until that point really showed the weaknesses that Kelleher could show in this fight with Lineker. Moving right on to the Vera fight, he showed good pressure with the Vera fight, keeping Vera on his back foot, always pressuring, and with the cage work he was able to get some dirty boxing in there, some dirty knees. But he was fishing for the takedown a little bit too much, and it eventually allowed Vera to switch from a Kimura to an armbar, which is a beautiful chain submission, eventually get the tap to the armbar. I'm just going to skip over the Stasiak fight, as I don't believe that has too much of a factor in this Lineker fight. But a lot of people are harping a lot on the Barao and Kelleher fight as to why Kelleher will win this. Let's all remember, this is not the same Renan Barao that we were getting when he was murking bitches at UFC or at 135 during his title reign. So please, take whatever Kelleher showed in this fight with Barao with a grain of salt. Again, I don't want to take too much away from Kelleher's performance, because Barao did look relatively good in that fight. But again, this is a post-USADA Barao, a Barao that gasses a little bit quicker than he would normally. So just again breaking down that fight really quickly, Barao started off very well in that fight. I think he won. It was a close first round, but I think he won that first round. He landed a lot of great leg kicks. Kelleher was very sloppy with the entry on his own leg kicks, leaving his chin wide open, straight up in the air, and Barao was hitting him. If Lineker catches him in those situations, Lineker will put him on his butt. There was good pressure near the end of the round from Kelleher, as he had sensed that Barao was starting to slow down. Another great awareness in the second round to secure a takedown from Kelleher, even though Barao popped right back up. It was a smart game plan by Kelleher to wear on Barao as much as he can, allowing Kelleher's pace to, be very impressive in that fight, but still left, some things to be corrected in terms of his striking defense. Kelleher does show decent head movement and good feints, but to think that he has the ability to emulate TJ's game in terms of what TJ did to Lineker, I think is, ridiculous. Kelleher does get hit, and he has yet to actually face somebody that hits as hard as Lineker. Alcantara might have something to say about that, but, Lineker is on another level when it comes to power. So if Alcantara was able to rock Kelleher, not necessarily rock, let's say he tagged him, he dropped him maybe once or twice. If Alcantara was able to do that, I think Lineker would be able to do the exact same thing. Moving right on to Lineker, one thing that MMA Numbers MMA on Twitter brought up was the significant strikes per minute that Lineker was landing, which is at 12.87. And coming in close to second was Kelleher with 11.77 for people on this card. It's crazy that his pace is up there. It's going to be a fun fight considering both of their significant strikes attempted are that high above the 10 significant strikes attempted per minute, but Lineker, his significant strikes are definitely a lot harder than Kelleher's, so that should definitely play a factor into this fight. People want to again look at the Dillashaw fight, but let's just face it, Lineker got beat up by the superior technical striker, and Dillashaw had the way better ability to mix in takedowns at the opportune moments. He had a lot of fucking beautiful takedowns in that fight, but I don't think Kelleher is going to be able to, get those takedowns. Most of his takedowns that I've seen were against off the cage, but even then he wasn't able to really keep the guys down. So I don't know if he's going to be able to land those against Lineker, maybe one or two, but I'm not, putting too much into that. In the Vera fight for Lineker, this was his first fight coming back from that jaw surgery, but he still showed that he was able to implement his aggressive striking. He wasn't as aggressive in the first round, a little bit more tentative, but once he started to free up a little bit, his striking did see an uptick. He is one of the best guys when it comes to mixing up strikes to the body and then going right up to the head. One of his favorite moves one of his favorite combinations is the jab to the face, a 1-2 to the body, and then come right back up to the head with another 1-2. So it's awesome to see him mix it up like that, not always just head hunting out there. I believe Lineker will land the harder strikes and make Kelleher more hesitant to exchange in these situations, but I can see Lineker clipping and possibly finishing him, especially if Alcantara had the same success up until he got submitted. I don't think Lineker is going to get submitted. I think if Lineker does get taken down, he will be able to get back up, and eventually he will seek the finish, in my opinion. But, if he is still... you know what? I do think he's going to get the finish. I wouldn't be completely surprised at a decision, but a Lineker KO is definitely something that I see happening. Once again, I got John Lineker at minus 205. He's up to about minus 230, minus 240 at this point, which I still think is, a bettable price for a guy like John Lineker. So moving right on, let's go to, I got Dern over Cooper, Jacare over Gastelum, and Nunes over Pennington. Touching quickly on Bellator 199, I had initially leaned John Fitch, then watched his fight with Brian Foster and saw how many times he got dropped. So I'm definitely passing on that fight. But I do definitely lean Cheick Kongo heavily over Javi Ayala. As long as he's better than minus 250, I will make Cheick Kongo a lock of the night, as long as I can get odds that are just as good as that. Once those odds drop, you're more than welcome to hop onto that play, as I'll more than likely be taking that if I can get those odds. So that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys next week for UFC Chile, where we got Kamaru Usman taking on Damian Maia, which is a very intriguing fight. And, it's I don't think the odds are really doing it much justice, but it should be a very intriguing fight. Good luck with your bets, and I'm gone.